Hello everybody, welcome back to Lozy PC and welcome back to the PBEM of War in the Pacific against Invictus. Hope everyone is doing well and hope everyone has been enjoying the videos so far. So welcome back, we are slowly progressing. We are on the 15th of December, now going into the 16th of December and been an interesting couple of turns. Now, once again, we can see that submarines love to attack destroyers. This is the I-10, just off the coast of Sydney, attacking a French destroyer. Nothing really came of it either way, so kind of, not great, but not terrible. So I'm not going to complain too much. And here we have some merging of our destroyers with our transport ships that are planning an amphibious invasion down south. Now, good news is the swordfish, which was harassing our shipping over in Shanghai, we can see that the sub-chasers that we deployed in that zone and on that convoy route have at least been picking up the submarine. What we need now is we need them to do some damage to the submarine. What we see here is a slightly older US submarine, the S-boats, which are kind of annoying because these have the older torpedoes, and these older torpedoes do legitimately work well, and we see it sinking an AKL. Oh, sorry, not an AKL, a standard cargo ship. So not great, but it didn't seem to have any troops or anything on it, so I think it was something coming back. Not ideal, but we can deal with losing a cargo ship every now and then. It's one of those things. Again, submarines off the coast of the Pearl Harbor trying to attack destroyers, being very, very bold is the only thing I can say there. Because it is bold, a destroyer is designed to take out submarines. That's their kind of role in the Navy, as well as a few other things. But primarily, when you think of destroyers, you think of them as anti-submarine ships. So yeah. The submarines trying to take them on is always bold, but hey ho. So just kind of making some notes and moving on. And then we see this. This is such good news. One of our submarines here, the I-70, the I-170, catching and hitting the tanker Eidsvold with 2 torpedoes. It's great. That is something that we want to do. Obviously, the Americans and allies get a lot of tankers, so trying to sink any we can is super useful. The things that are even more useful, if we can, is oilers, because they don't get a lot of oilers for a while. So we didn't sink an oiler, but sinking a tanker is very good. So I am happy with that. Again, more submarine being attacked here by destroyers. Nothing really coming of it, which is all good and handy. So we're kind of progressing through the night, and we're all done, which is all good. Nothing too extravagant. I think if we were to split the night, I would say that we came out better sinking a tanker and losing a cargo ship. But hey, one of those things. And again, submarine trying to attack a destroyer. Bold, brave, stupid, maybe stupid. It's having a little bit of a rattle there from the depth charges, but generally seems to be okay. And yeah, we kind of just let the game progress. Now this is something fun. Some submarine on submarine fights. The I-154 found the USS Shark and managed to hit it with a torpedo. It fired 4 torpedoes and missed all but 1, which is really good for us. That should mean that the Shark has been sunk. Getting rid of any submarines is obviously fantastic, and particularly doing it with our own submarine. It's kind of fun seeing the submarine on submarine fights. Again, around the Philippines as well. So a kind of key area that we know Invictus has been trying to patrol, a key area we know he's been trying to deal with. So being able to do that sinking one of his submarines is really going to help us. So we have some more raids on Nanchang, and we can see it's doing pretty good so far. The battle at Nanchang, the Air Force is really trying to help. We're getting a good couple of raids as well elsewhere, particularly in Malaya and Burma, which again is what we want. You know, these 8,000 feet bombing runs are doing really well. We could even drop it lower for particularly places in China, because you know the Chinese divisions don't really have AA, so we wouldn't lose too many aircraft. But I'm kind of happy with how things are going so far. You know, so we'll kind of keep it up as it is. Our Lilies are kind of bombarding in Malaya against these retreating units. They're not doing super well, unfortunately, but you know they can keep stuff up and keep on the attack. But yeah. So a little bit more attacks at Nanchang. Again, only by 4 Sonyas, so nothing too extravagant or exciting. Which is one of those things that we have to kind of deal with. And then that's the morning done. You know, pretty quick, pretty easy. We have ships and planes trying to spot stuff. You know, we changed over to making sure we had more anti-submarine situations going on with our aircraft. Nothing really coming up yet, but we have a bit more of a major raid over Nanchang with some Nels and some Bettys and 120 plus casualties. That is so good. This is really helping us kind of keep that Battle of Nanchang really balanced. When Invictus attacked us with those Chinese units, he did clearly have more assault value, had more infantry. So us using the Air Force to really kind of hammer him back and give him, you know, the equivalent of a day's fighting perhaps in casualties from the air means that when there is actual fighting going on, we're trying to get that advantage. So this is really good, and I kind of want to keep this up just to make sure that something we can do is just kind of harass it. Now this was something interesting, seeing some Kates and Claudes flying from the Ryuyu kind of makes you go, oh, what are they going after? They're going after AKLs, and they do very well. It's some good practice for the Kates. Nothing too exciting, I must admit. You know, if it was something else, it would be more useful, but still, sinking a couple of cargo ships, all good. So that's, again, something that we can take as a victory and progress forward, because that's always something that we want to do. So, we have a few more things kind of going forward. Again, you know, finding US submarines, not kind of attacking it again. I think this is where I need to make sure I go into this and check the captains for these ships and their aggressiveness. So, in between Hankow and Xinjiang, a lot of divisions are pushing against some Chinese divisions, and really good victory for us there. 200 Japanese casualties, over 5,000 Allied casualties, so really good. Elsewhere, this is Nanchang, and you can see now that the kind of, you know, there is still a little bit more to the Chinese assault value, but it's a lot more even. So if we can keep up that bombardment from the air, you know, maybe kill off another 100 or so people, that'll be really good, and we'll kind of keep on top of that. Elsewhere in Hong Kong, things are going well. I think I'm going to bombard for a couple more days, just to kind of weaken the allies in there a little bit more. We are starting to destroy squads, which is always useful. Again, something that I'm not 100% sure on, kind of one of these things with this game where it feels like a rule. But the rule, I believe, is if you are starting to destroy squads with bombardment, it kind of means you're getting to the point where that enemy is getting a lot weaker. And therefore, you know, perhaps is when we can start assaulting. Again, it's one of those things that I have heard through the grapevine. I'm not 100% sure if that's actually true or if I'm kind of making it up in my mind, but it's at least something that I kind of base my actions around. Of course, we'll see how effective and successful that is. So, I'm kind of having a look around in China. So, again, looking at Nanchang, seeing what the situation is. We have a couple of units of bombers, and I just checked that the Sonyas here are planning to bombard Nanchang, which they are. And again, up in the north, I'm keeping an eye on our 6th Army and our other units that are preparing for the attacks on Luoyang and Chengchao. Just checking that these units are moving towards the river south of Chengchao, because the plan is we're going to cross to the south of Chengchao and then attack from that point. So we don't use the shock attack against by going over the river. Here, the units that were fighting just north of Hankow on the road and the rail line to Xinjiang, we're kind of splitting them. Some are going to chase those units that we've just defeated, and a lot more are going to be going up to Xinjiang. The reason why is we can see that there is a large push from Chinese units that seem to be approaching Xinjiang. And what we don't have at the moment is a lot of infantry and a lot of defences in Xinjiang. We kind of don't want to lose this. That main highway, particularly between Hankow and the north, is something that we want to keep control of. It'll allow us to move units around, and once we kind of secure it properly, we'll be able to, by rail, move units from Shanghai all the way down to Hankow, up to the north, into Manchuria. As and where we need to move stuff around, we'll control the majority of the Chinese infrastructure. At the moment, we don't quite, but we aren't far off. There is Chinese troops kind of here, there, and everywhere, and obviously that's something that we need to kind of make sure that we deal with and secure, while we're also thinking of pushing to the north. Now, I did get some advice, which was don't destroy the Chinese units in China, because what is going to happen is they will be able to respawn at Chengdu or Chongqing, and therefore if you just kind of destroy loads of units, then when you come to fight those two cities, there's just going to be lots of units there. So what you want to do is kind of just push them away until you get to that area, and until you're prepared to kind of deal with Chengdu and Chongqing. And I think that's fair enough. I think that is a good idea. What I do want to do though is obviously make sure that if there is any units nearby, that we kind of clear them out, and then they get stuck, separated from their supply routes, and it becomes difficult for them then to stay stocked and supplied, and they can't really do anything after that. So elsewhere, we're just kind of keeping an eye on what's going on with these ships around Formosa, and noticing that we've got a load of ships here that have done their landings from the Philippines, and we're just kind of having a look, seeing if there's anything that we kind of want to move around. We see that there is our construction regiments, and I'm kind of debating what to do here, because a party is probably going to be our main point of dropping off resources and supplies to the Philippine campaign. So what we're going to kind of do is get a load of units on transport, and get ourselves those construction companies. They'll be able to build stuff a bit quicker. We'll need to make sure that we get supplies moving to Apari, and it's something that I actually legitimately forgot to do this turn as well, and I'm not sure I've actually done it yet. We turn on just load troops. We're not going to take the supplies out of Pescadores, but these guys are going to head over. They can dock at Pescadores, which is great, so we're just going to let them there. And then the others, I think, just looking at it, I'm like, yeah, let's move some units back, although I think I end up being a bit weird here with how I do this. I can't exactly remember what I did. Oh yeah, I moved the patrol boats back, which is what I actually wanted. So we go back, we look for the patrol boats that we just unassigned, and then we put them there. So these guys should have mostly AKs. We don't want them to have too much, because again, these are going to be going to Bataan to pick up the unit, the Sasebo 1st SNLF at Bataan, and then drop them off elsewhere. So that's going to be our key kind of reasoning there. And again, just kind of having a look at seeing what we have over here at Takeo. Seeing if there's anything worthwhile moving, and we see that there is a 65th Infantry Brigade. It's nearly 4,500 troops. That could be useful in the Philippines. So we see that these guys are loading up more construction battalions that are going to a party actually, and then we will go and take some units and some ships that are at Pescadores who have been doing their amphibious assault, and we're going to choose this one because this has an AP. So I'm going to send them to Takeo, and I'm going to pick up the 65th Brigade, drop them off at the Philippines. Again, more reinforcements, more units. The Philippines is kind of our main thrust at the moment. Again, checking Samar, because we have a lot of units here that could do with moving. In regards to kind of infantry, it's mostly SNLF units that we will kind of consider where we're going to use them. We look at Camaran Bay, because again, the second other major area here, and we see that there is a infantry battalion as well as a tank battalion. And I'm kind of debating, Pamumbang, do we go for it early? Getting onto Sumatra is going to be pretty key. Sumatra is going to be, one of our key oil producing areas and fuel producing areas of the campaign. But I have a feeling that it's going to be difficult without overwhelming force. And it's just kind of trying to work out exactly how much I want to kind of spread my units out. We see that we've got the invasion of Davao heading forward, and we're kind of looking down here towards Manus, the Bismarck Archipelago, and Dutch New Guinea. I'm just checking what these ships are. These are moving to truck. These are some small tankers that we were moving, that we'll use to kind of refuel things like Roy and Namur and Kalwejen, just to allow us to keep the submarines nice and happy. So, what I'm realizing here is we've got a couple of Naval Guard units, and we also have some on Tarawa and on Makin. Now, those are two, particularly Tarawa is an island that we kind of want to reinforce and turn into air bases. So I'm kind of debating what we're going to move there. The first thing I want to do is I want to get these Naval Guard units back. The reason being is they're about 800 infantry each, well, 888 infantry each at full whack, as we can see there. We need to take Rabaul. Again, it's one of my early objectives that I want. So what we will do is we'll get the Naval Guard units of Tarawa, Makin, and at Jalut all to attack Rabaul. Now that is just shy of 3,500 infantry that will be attacking, which is the equivalent of half a division worth of, just shy of half a division worth of attacking infantry. Should be enough. We'll also have a look elsewhere to see what else we've got. We know we have the 144th Regiment that we will be loading up from Guam as well. And we can send that down just to give it a little bit more punch. And here we're just kind of checking what we've been doing the last couple of turns, reminding myself, because it always happens, you forget what you're doing. Hence why I try to do these voiceovers as quickly after the turn as I can, so I can remember, what we've been doing and what's going on. Now, the debate that I've been having for the last couple of turns, do we launch the invasions from truck? And I've decided, yes, we're going to do it. So, Kaveng goes forward. Then I'm going to go, okay, let's do Hollandia. And I noticed something in a second, particularly after this one. This is Lombrum. And we're thinking, we'll leave this one for the time being. We'll move forward. Okay, let's do Shortland Islands. Yep, that'll be good. Again, extend quite a way. Let's do Antinap, or Antinipe. I don't know how to pronounce any of these, but I'm just going to give it a go. And then I realised, wait a minute, they don't have troops on here. And there's a couple that don't have troops. So what we're going to do is we're going to load just a unit each of SNLF. Not lots of troops, but I am not expecting there to be heavy resistance on New Guinea at the moment, or even in the Shortland Islands. So we're going to load these guys up onto these, make sure that they've got everything they need to do to get their invasion. And I realized that the 81st Guard unit needs a lot. But again, it's a Naval Guard unit, not an SNLF unit. So they're slightly different in what they have. So this is Lombrum. We leave Lombrum because we know that's a bit of a weird one. And we see that we have Wade Whack. And we can load up another company, this time the second independent SNLF company. Again, not a lot of troops, but I'm not expecting there to be a lot of resistance. This is more about just capturing those bases, keeping them out of the hands of the Allies. We've got a submarine here that should be going to Cawajan Island. That is our submarine base at the moment, although I accidentally sent this to Roy Namur. And I'm debating where to send it. And I was thinking, okay, let's send it to Pearl Harbor. I said that last time, we'll send some more ships to Pearl Harbor. But then I'm thinking, wait, no, actually, maybe instead of Pearl Harbor, why not send it towards the New Hebrides and kind of this region? Because this is where we sunk the Eidsvold, and we can imagine that there's probably more stuff coming through this gap. So we've got a couple of submarines to the east of the Santa Cruz Islands, and we're going to put another submarine onto the west of it. Again, just to see what we can see. So what I check here is I check our patrol boats, because again, even though it's not a long distance, I'm still kind of being weary, just in case Invictus has submarines here, or does have any sort of major defenses on these islands. We don't want to lose ships if we can help it. That is the general rule of thumb. Let's not lose ships if we can help it. So each of these amphibious invasions are going to get 2 patrol boats, which should eventually, should allow them to search for submarines. I'm not too worried about these patrol boats not having enough fuel to get there and back. They can take some from the other ships because there's some big ships there. But yeah, every task force is going to get 2 patrol boats to make sure that it is covered. That or SCM as well. Gives it some guns so they can suppress whatever at the landing zone, but should allow us to easily take, and protect these ships. Now, the good thing is once we've taken Northern New Guinea, we can then decide what we want to do with these SNLF units. We probably will need to move some construction units down if we're going to want to turn these into proper bases. To be brutally honest, there's not that much that I want to do with them in terms of bases, because they're kind of a little bit independent from one another. They can be useful to maybe have as an air base. A couple of them do have good air bases on there, as well as maybe a place to kind of hide ships if we need to. But the more important thing is it does allow us an extra jumping off point from Port Moresby to land troops, or we can kind of use them to attack the Dutch East Indies as well. So we will kind of see what the plan is there, but we've got a little bit before that. Now, this is the one that should be picking up the 114th Infantry Regiment, and it's not going to fit, even with turning troops on only. So I tried to add more ships. We need about another 1,000 troop capacity, and I'm like, well, we don't have that. Fuck it, we're just going to have to move it with what it's got, and we'll get the rest of them later. Again, if we land with those 4 Naval Guard units that we're planning to land with at Rabaul, that should be enough, and then the 144th can come up and give it a bit of support if needs be. We'll see how that goes. So elsewhere, I'm just kind of looking around to seeing if there's any kind of bases that are open and available, or base forces, or Air Force companies that are available to go to somewhere like Tarawa. We don't see anything too exciting, and yeah, just kind of briefly looking around at things, seeing what we're doing, just keeping a reminder of myself, and yeah, generally pretty happy with so far how things are going. I'm aware that Invictus is going to be an extremely on-the-ball opponent. He's playing 3 games at the moment, including ours, and most of them are him as Japan, because he's more used to that. And what that kind of means is he's going to know what what he's expecting from me. He's going to have his own expectations, and to an extent, while I have to follow them, we do have to try and make sure that we kind of surprise him and ruse him. But this is going to be us for the time being. I am going to do a little check in a second on the industry, and I'm clicking around trying to find some radio intelligence that we got, some possible useful radio intelligence. And I'm clicking around trying to find it, but I will find in just a second that it's in China. And it is next to Nanchang. And I'm like, okay, right, there's radio signals coming from where there's units that we know about. Okay, fine. Cheers, Signal Intelligence. You're doing really, really well. We have a look to see what that task force is. We check that the REU units are all good. They seem fine, so that's excellent. We have some cruisers there, and I'm just kind of looking around to see where are our other major naval units. And I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, we'll be fine. Let's have a quick look, see if there's any kind of cruisers about. And just quickly check my industry. I just want to check our lilies, because we've been losing a few. We're producing 34 a month, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's more than enough. So, as I say, we'll leave it here for the time being. So thank you very much for joining us for yet another turn of War in the Pacific. I hope you guys are doing all well, and we'll see you around. Bye!